As Coco says, oh shit.
Well, hello, boys and girls.
Hi.
What a wonderful day it is today in our money-based economy.
If you don't have a day,
sit back and relax and get ready for the guy who's about to ruin everything.
at least have
I'm
matches.
puzzled. Are you really seriously suggesting that Jesus Christ was a mushroom?
Wait.
Yep.
Jesus was a mushroom Roberts.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are dealing with a secret cult.
Yeah.
A secret society.
Yeah.
Welcome to Waning Interest.
Welcome to the Waning Interest Podcast. Hour number 67, Monday, March 30th, 2020. Here we go. Is it Monday? Last time I recorded on a Monday, I can even barely remember, but either way, I am the Greg Shaley for old ladies instead of Doug Stanhope. I have one job, and it's many. But you're most likely a whip, so you already knew that, considering last week. And the podcast before that certainly went over some of that, and I'm going to go back over some of that from some of my mistakes. Or mistakes, come on, we're talking about me. Not mistakes, but stuff I didn't finish, that I was just rambling on and going, I got to go to there, got to go to there, got to go to here, got to go where? And sometimes I forget to finish a point because I go on to so many other points, because obviously my head is full of, you're welcome. So that's part of the, if you're new, that's part of the hour, or sometimes half hour because I'm lazy, is to fix or go back and cover what I meant to cover in the previous hour or 30 minutes, or the previous 30 or hour from that, etc., etc., etc. Thank you, Willy Wonka. You know, this could be the year that Jesus was a mushroom hits fucking big. You guys know that, right? You didn't see the pandemic coming, did you? Man, that could have been a lot stronger if I hadn't have gone the pandemic. I just want to say damn, because it's all about damn this, damn that. And it's just getting really tiresome, isn't it? Thanks to the numbers, you can kind of see the show. Because if I'm not mistaken, at this point, we have just over 3,000 people apparently who have died in this country since this, to me, germ warfare planned destruction of the economy started. Nice and slow. 9/11 in slow motion. Whoever fucking said that first really nailed it. But that's what I see going. So there's just damn this, damn that. When wait, let's just look at the numbers. What, just over 3,000 people have died? How many people die in a normal day in the world? Look that up. I believe the number is about 150,000. Pretty sure that's the average. I know it sounds like a big number, but there's a lot of fucking people on this fucking planet. But either way, could this be the year? You didn't see the pandemic coming. Nobody really saw that. I mean, a few people did, but yeah, of course there'll be heroes later on when everybody else is caught on, but they still won't know who really started it, and it'll take longer and longer for them to go, oh, wait, remember who was saying it first? Omega Gardens. One of the big thing I've been posting about during this whole thing is, my whole thing is, as you know, is I want everybody to be self-sufficient as much as they can. That's the shit that I share. Make yourself Rick Simpson oil. Grow cannabis. Make yourself Rick Simpson oil. Best fucking medicine in the world. Hands down. Maybe they're medium up. I don't know. But one day it'll be hands down, I think. But what the fuck do I know? But make yourself some Rick Simpson oil. I tell that to people. Really simple. I share, I don't know how many times I've shared that fucking video on Vimeo. It's on, I've shared it here. Rick Simpson oil. Vimeo. How to make Rick Simpson oil. If I don't remember, which I should, to share the link again, that's what you'll want to look up. I tell them to do that. I tell them to get, obviously, grow your own fucking garden if you can. As much as you can, as little as you can. But if you have a really good area for a kitchen or in a garage or a shed or something, get an Omega garden. Look up the Omega gardens, man. These cylinders where you have all these pods. There's like in one row, there's like 10 pods, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's usually like 8 rows of 10. That's 80, right? And what they do is they're in a cylinder, and they're in these little pods, and the cylinder just slowly turns all the time. And to cut down on electricity, there's one light. Instead of a bunch of lights going over a whole warehouse full of shit, which is cool too. Instead, there's one light right in the middle of the cylinder, so the light's always on what's in the cylinder, just continually turning. And what they found is when plants, lettuce, tomatoes, lots of other shit, when it's growing upside down in that slow turn, like a spit, when it gets upside down, more nutrients come out of the root and the seeds, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the stalk, all that shit. If you saw a head of lettuce that came out of an Omega garden and a regular head of lettuce, you'd go, I want that Omega garden one, man. It's not like it's on steroids and it looks retarded. Sorry, whatever the brain thing is I meant to say. The new medical term. It looks squirrely. It doesn't look squirrely. It just looks, that looks fucking right. You just look up Omega Gardens, and like I said, I'll leave the goddamn fucking link, because some people just, when you tell somebody, hey, it's, say omegagardens.com, but then they go into their Google thing and then type it in there instead of straight into the bar on the top of the fucking, of whatever window they have open, whatever, Internet Explorer or Chrome or Safari or whatever the fuck. And they just, you're wasting, just eliminate those steps, man. You're making Anthony Monk go, ah! Does anybody get the Monk reference? I'm a bit like Monk. Tony Shalhoub. Yay! He's a badass. Omega Gardens. I want one for everybody. Because they have little small ones that, like I said, could fit into either a shed or a garage, or depending on the size of your kitchen. Or they've got these ones that have rows and rows. It's these industrial ones that are insane to look at. You'll find them if you just look it up on YouTube. It's so brilliant, man. So when people read the stuff that I write on the social medias, they smell a little more anger because they don't get some of the humor, which I don't blame them, because I'm not the greatest writer, and sometimes I have to go back and sort of edit it and go, oh yeah, maybe if I, because I'm always looking at like, what could I do better? Like listening to these back and going, what, did I put that out? If I was able to sit through the whole fucking hour, of course I'm going to put it out. God damn it. Oh, by the way, hour number 67 is brought to you by Camara. And whatever weed it is that I have. Seeing how I'm in Gator Country, I can't go to the actual dispensary because I don't have a Gator Country ID. So it's not like when I was in that other state. actually used to be a bud tender. Hold on. Just patted myself on the back there. It's not the same to where, oh, I want this, I want that, I want an indica or dominant or a sativa dominant, or, it's just, you just get what you get when you're in the pandemic and you're around people that you really don't know, and you're just, okay, oh, you, no shit, yeah, you're a weed smoker, you don't look it, but hey, nice hide. I meant to say ass, but nice hide. You know what I meant? I meant hide, I think. Right? Maybe. Whatever. But oh, that's what I was going to say. I forgot again. No, Kimura, whatever weed. Yeah, that's what we'll call it, the whatever weed. How is it? What do you think? All right, I'll move on. Omega Gardens. I don't have to say it again because you can put the link there and you can move on. Right. Hey, did I tell you we're the smallest click on the internet? Talk about feeling like a punk. Because punk was small until Green Day came along. But I like small. That's why Junkyard's my favorite band. Because they never blew up and got bloated. But I think I said that in hour 66. And maybe hour 65. Hey, a little shout out to Junkyard again. David Roach, Pat Mazingo, Todd Muscat, sorry. But his brother Brent was in Faster Pussycat. Todd Mosier, Jimmy James. Great band. Whatever. This is the Pinball Brain in your favorite machine. I think I saw another lizard. Wait, it's Monday. You know what Monday is? Normally it's acting and bowling stories, but I don't think I'm going to tell a bowling story, except for that I've been watching a lot of old bowling on fucking YouTube with this lockdown or quarantine, whatever word you want to use. I was watching, was it the Bud Light Open, 1988? I think it was. And somebody put the broadcast up off their VCR. Where normally, today, when people put up, within the last couple of years, the show that was on TV and they put it up on YouTube, the commercials are gone. So as soon as they go to commercial, they come right back. Like when I used to watch football football highlights in Australia, or the actual game in Australia back in 1989, 1990. Different story. But when they put up these older ones, like from the 80s and the early 90s, it's from somebody's VCR, and they normally just let it roll, so you get to see all those old commercials again. Oh, man. Going back and seeing all those fucking Miller Lite tastes great, less filling commercials, weird. Because you feel like there's only a couple. Holy shit. They had such a truckload of different commercials for that. Some that didn't even have football stars and actors and shit. It's insane. But one of the commercials during a break was for 19 cereal. If anybody's old enough that's listening, any of you whips that are old enough to remember 19 cereal, it was kind of sold as like a healthy cereal, like Special K. Watching this commercial right in the beginning, boom, boom, these two kids just walk through the door and they're talking. I'm like, hey, I know that kid. It's Chunk from the Goonies. A couple years older. I'm not going to tell you that I was screaming at the computer, do the truffle shuffle, do the truffle shuffle. I don't know why I broke on that, but I just did. So then I did that too, for real. I said, do the truffle shuffle, and of course, he didn't. Fucking Chunk. What a disappointment. Fuck you, Jeff Cohen. Jeff Cohen, just kidding. Badass. The dude is a lawyer. Chunk from the Goonies is now a lawyer. Did you know that? I actually saw him at the courthouse once, and I'm not going to tell you why. That's a true story. That's not a made-up little throwaway thing. That's actually true, and I can't remember if it was my DUI or my divorce. Or after the divorce. Whatever. It's not important. The important part is Chunk was still working after the Goonies. Right? Right. Thank you. So how do you like it? What do you think of the shed? What do you think of the new podcast studio? It's not as damped down like a actual whisper room, but whisper room is, the booth that you go in with that, like, carpeted door that's for a fucking freezer. Speaking of Chunk and the Goonies. Hey, wow. See, it's all a fucking simulation. It all fits if you just look at it right, wrong. So, there's a bowling story. I was watching, I watched more than that. I think I watched the 86 Bud Light Open. Back then, because of all the beers were light beers, there was different light beer opens, but they were all different. But in the title, it just said light beer. That's something I noticed, because I was like, wait a minute, I just watched that one, and it's from the same person. That light beer opened in 1987. I just watched that one. What the hell is this one? And I went and I listened, and then you hear the Chris Schenkel, because it's the old stuff, the guy was really quiet and really, he was great, Chris Schenkel. But then I hear him, the Bud Light Open, or the Miller Light Open, or the something else Light Open. I'm like, what the fuck? But their actual titles was the 87 something Light Open, but it didn't have Miller or Bud or whatever. It was Light Beer Open or something. I don't want to go back, but they didn't actually have the actual name. The name was in the subtitle that only the announcer would say, but it wasn't on. It's fucking trippy, kind of like how, but not, kind of like how I noticed going back and watching football games back then. I was like, I just wanted to watch this, for the camera work and looking how much, skinnier, obviously, the players were. And of course, some of the rule changes, some of the stuff that you'd see, you were like, oh, wow, that never would have played today. That would have gone back and replay, or all that shit, 'cause they didn't have. And I'm like, wait a minute, something is off. What the fuck is it? I can't remember what game it was I was watching, but I think it was a game from 87. It was probably a Skins game, and it might have been a playoff game before the Super Bowl. 87, wait, no, that would have been 89. Wait a minute, when did Rippon win? And Doug Williams won in what, 86? Because Theismann won in 84, 83. Fuck, I don't know. Mark Ellis would be correcting me right now and telling me exactly what the answer is. Mark Ellis, comedian, and one of the play-by-play guys for the Schmodown. If you ever check the Schmodown on YouTube, movie trivia Schmodown, fucking great shit. Just the Schmodown. I don't care for anything else. Just the Schmodown. It's a trivia show and it's fun. Sometimes the answers are way too fucking easy. You're like, guys, come on. Anyway, watching the game, and something is off that I'm seeing on the field, and I'm like, what the fuck? Did they paint the field differently back then? What's the deal? I'm like, oh, there it is. Back then, all the officials wore white hats or black hats, and the referee wore the white hat, which changed somewhere in the early 90s, I believe, or the late 80s, to where the referee wears black and all the other officials wear white. It was really weird. It was like, wait a minute, something's fucking off. My eyes are seeing something weird. But I'm like, yeah, the guys were a little bit skinnier in their legs because, the roids weren't as prevalent and they weren't as, tree trunks like they are today. A lot of other white guys. Whatever. Racist. No, it's not. Ever tell you my dad did rails with Dexter Manley? Anyway. Everybody loves that story privately anyway. Privately. What's privately? Well, privately is when you just talk to your friends on the phone and you don't broadcast it on a podcast or radio or anything like that. Let me throw in vodcast. That's just a little reference to Issues with Andy. Anyway, see, then you go blue, and then you go... Oh, shit, wrong conversation. Anyway, stop saying anyway, dick. I will. So if you're not somebody that is like a football fan and has never done that, gone back on YouTube and watched a bunch of games that happened, long time ago, and you're like, what? Something's off. The colors are off. Your eyes will catch it. It's a trip. I loved it. Now, one of the things that I forgot in hour 66 was... See, I have a lot of friends on Facebook. You might not be on my Facebook friends list, but I have a lot of friends on Facebook. But because I post a lot about Jesus being a mushroom and 9/11 being an inside job and banks need to go and the Venus Project, Zeitgeist Movement, Earth economy, weird shit, I know that I have a lot of people that have unfollowed me. Which, of course, will bring down my likes. Even though a lot of my friends are people that do feel that same way. But they've got a whole bunch. I know how a lot of it works. So I know a lot of people have unfollowed me. I've unfollowed a lot of people. I don't follow many. Anyway. So my point being that I don't get a lot of likes, a lot of shares, except for the podcast here and there. Of course. And because another reason a lot of people unfollow me is because they don't understand my humor so much. They've never actually heard me. So they don't understand the dryness. They don't understand, they don't understand me, man. See, this is therapy. But some they don't. They don't get it. That's fine. The point being, because I don't get a lot of likes and stuff, I don't get a lot of attention. Oh, that's the other part I wanted to mention. And the other side of it is a lot of people, because of the stuff that I post, the ones that still do follow me and still do actually give a shit. Oh, there comes one of those fucking helicopters that weren't around until all this shit. And I get the helicopter paranoia with cocaine paranoia without the cocaine. Whatever, man. Point being, a lot of people don't like to, because of the subject matter, don't like to say something online in front of everybody. So I get a lot of texts about stuff that I post. So I get a lot of, or instant messages about stuff that I post, because people would rather not discuss it, in front of a bunch of people. There's maybe whatever they do for work, or whatever. There's all kinds of reasons, and it's fine. I really don't give a shit. Because, as I've said before, I like small. Stop talking about your wiener. That's not small. I told you it was 7 3/4. What, last hour or the hour before or hour? Whatever. Not about my penis, right? But the point is, it makes me look like the perfect drug dealer. I push great shit, and everyone keeps their mouth shut. I know a lot of you are going, genius. See? So, JoeCruz.com. That's who you heard at the front of the podcast. He is the voice of the Waning Interest podcast. CruzVO.com. CRUISEVO. No, he's not gay. Well, not when he's not around me. Hit him if you want a cool voice for your shit. as you can see, it's cool. Waning Interest Podcast at gmail.com, waning with a Y, but you knew that. You're probably listening on what? Apple? Stitcher? Maybe YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That would be nice. A lot of people listen. There's a good batch that listen. Not huge numbers at all. Small numbers. But with the numbers that I do have, I think I'd have more subscribers. And I won't tell you to hit the bell button for notifications. Let it build up. I don't care. Because then when there's another pandemic, you got some shit to listen to. And don't you dare tell me that this ain't fun. There's some crazy person basically talking to his doctor without the doctor being there and without being there in the hospital. And able to drink and smoke. You know, when I was in the psych ward, we were only able to smoke twice a day. Man, that sucked. And that's how I made a lot of friends. Because my wonderful girlfriend at the time, let's call her Bathy, just to stay safe. She brought me the good shit, American Spirits. And the trash that I hadn't even heard of some of the fucking cigarette brands that were there for the po folk. Not saying they were black, not saying they were white. They were all, I was poor. I was just lucky because I had Bathy. But because those cigarettes were shit, I had a lot of people. I was there. I shared my cigarettes with everybody. This is how you get blowjobs. But kidding. No, nothing like that ever happened in the psych ward. That's a true story. Didn't care. Didn't want that. This is I didn't mean to get into this, but real quick. When I was in there was 1 hour in the day where you were able to go outside with a couple of doctors, and there was, security, whatever. You go outside of the basketball court, shoot baskets, just walk around and be in the sunshine and shit. I wasn't able to do that in the 6 days that I was there because I wouldn't take the zombie drugs that they wanted me to be on because I knew I did not need them. Because I am, a disciple of Coco. 2 shout-outs to Mr. Diaz. I can hear him laughing in my head right now. He's so fucking funny. Anyway, maybe you're listening. Tune in. I already said that. Google Play, Laughable, Spotify. But what I prefer, you can listen to everything right at the Patreon page. All the list of all the shit that all the places where it is already that you'll find it for free are all for free also on the Patreon page, where you can also find the other Monday and Friday hours if you want to be part of the Waning Interest Podcast pack. One of the whips. Coolest people on the planet. Except for my ma, because she doesn't actually listen. She just wants to be a whip. I'll support you as long as I don't have to listen. Can you blame her? Patreon.com/ what is it? I don't know. Waning Interest, I think. Or maybe Waning Interest Podcast. The link should be right there. If you want to be part of the whips. And it's cheap as shit. $2 a month. I'm not asking for it right now, but, whenever. Doesn't matter. I don't really care. I mention it because it's there, but I don't like to mention it at all usually. I'm just going through because it's in my notes. Or the paypal.me/Waning Roberts VO. Wayne, not Waning Roberts VO. Wayne Roberts VO. Because, the voiceover shit, which not doing anymore, but that's a quick way if you want to do the PayPal and you don't want to be a whip. Well, you want to be a whip in a different way. God, I hate saying that shit. Did I tell you the Twitter? Interest Waning with a Y. And I told last week the story of why I had to change why I had to get a different Twitter account. It used to be Wayne Roberts at 811, but I got the boot. And I could have removed the boot from my tailpipe and gone back to everything being okay. but I told them to fuck off when they told me to take the tweet down. And I haven't heard from them since. And I can't log in. I guess that means I'm done. Who gives a shit? Interest waning is the new Twitter if you want to follow me there. I do mostly retweeting, but the last couple of days I've gotten a little pissy and have thrown out my own tweets. Right now, there should be a planned general strike, mortgage strike, and rent strike with that deal that it wasn't a deal. It was a joke. Another joke. Hey, let's look at it this way. Let's see, they slowly hand this out to us. And still, like I said, the numbers before. How many people die in one day across the world? And our numbers are, and I'm not saying that doesn't mean that nothing's actually happening. People aren't getting sick and dying. I'm not saying that. But they scare the shit out of everybody with with the media that they own. Scare the shit out of them, make them feel that, the military coming in is okay. Then they go and they put this deal through that goes 96-0. All the people that screamed and said it was a shit deal still voted for it. WWE. So, the military's already here when the people start realizing that the shit deal that they got, where they didn't get Medicare for all, they didn't get UBI, which is what they need to demand with the general strike, the mortgage strike, the rent strike, the debt strike, all the strikes. But the top three are obviously rent, mortgage, and general. And as far as I know, Amazon, a lot of the Amazon workers are about to say, hey, fuck you for a couple of days at least. And I don't blame them. Good. Obviously, I don't order anything from Amazon, so I'm cool. And yes, has there been wonderful gifts for the mailman? You're goddamn right. But that's it, because I don't go to the store. They won't let me. And I wasn't a store guy anyway before. Instagram, Wayne Roberts 811. That one still floats, even though I don't do anything there. If you want to do it up. But Mondays are bowling and acting stories. Already told my bowling story. Maybe I'll get to the acting story in a bit. But I got a lot of shit to go through, of course. Like I said, the fixes from 66. The fixes from 66. Little Route 66 melody, but yeah, that didn't work, did it? No. Wednesdays are usually the Wednesday joke, the Wednesday radio story, which are the ones that normally go out to where you're hearing it right now. Mondays and Fridays are usually Patreon only. But in this time, whatever I can put up, I'm putting up. To everyone. There's my doing, imagine. Fridays are usually the VO stories, voiceover, album of the week, and the psychedelic movie / series. I did a little bit of that last week. Sort of, kind of. It just wasn't as important. Because, boy, did I get a little buzz and start fucking rambling. Kind of like now. Excuse me, a little more Kimura. Thank you. It's actually chocolate milk. Or is it? I don't know. So, one of the things I was wondering was, do you think that Trump haters get it now? That the establishment fucking loves him and he can't lose no matter what he says or does. Like I said, 96-0 vote to fuck the country harder than Obama did, which created Occupy Wall Street. Which was what I was talking about before, which will scare everybody, let the military come in, I'll make them feel a little better. Oh, and then they start finding out that they got fucked real hard. Now they can't really, the rebellion gets easily squandered in certain spots. Hot spots, we'll call them. That's not what's happening right now, but that's what I see in the coming future. But do you think the Trump haters are going to get that? Stop fucking bitching about him. It's the system. He's just part of them. And holy fuck, does Stephen Colbert, does he show he's a corporate hack with the helping of constantly boring these overused stupidity Trump jokes, even from his home. I mean, and his fucking impression. Oh my God. You know, it reminds me of when Hicks trashed Leno. Hey, anybody remember me when I was funny? And then he committed suicide with an Uzi, and it painted the fucking NBC peacock behind him on the curtain because he was a company man to the bitter fucking end. Thank you, Bill. Love you. Holy shit. I put that up recently. That's one of my recent Facebook posts that pissed a few people off. I said something like, it's times like these when you see that people that have said for years, friends of yours that have said they're Bill Hicks or George Carlin fans are nothing but fucking frauds because they can't see what's really happening because they weren't really listening. It reminded me of 97 in Florida with the Marlins, where the Marlin fans didn't show up until the fucking playoffs. And for the record, I wrote, I was there for 12 games during the season, including Game 1 opening day and Game 1 of the World fucking Series. And 10 games in between. And maybe there was a couple of them that we were doing cocaine in the fucking skybox. But those are just fantasy stories that maybe I'll get back to at a later date. Because maybe they didn't actually happen. Or maybe they did. Yeah, maybe they did. And if Trump, I'm so sick of the Trump-Russia shit. Russiagate is such a fucking joke. Because let's say he was a Russian. If Trump is working for Russia, then so are all the folks that push all his shit through with no problem, but then play the freak out game over his words so you think they're on your side. Pelosi, Schumer, the list goes on and on and on. But they push it through. Like I said, you remember the number? 96-0 for this shit fucking deal. With no Medicare for all, which obviously that's what we need, right? With all the bitching about all the medical shit. Oh, but you're going to get 3 months off your mortgage. Oh, cool. But did you catch the part that when after the 3 months you got to pay everything that, you don't have time to pay that first 3 months that we gave you off? $1,200. What the fuck? It reminds me of listening to David Cross talking about the Bush deal. Remember the Bush deal back in the day? I'm going to get my $200. Yeehaw! I'm good. Oh, they just put 1,000 on and after almost 2 decades. Whoa. And that's it. Yeah. WWE. All right, let's go to the hour 66 fixes. Okay, now I talked about the ladies. I talked about my ma being Blanche, if you're going to think about it as the Golden Girls. And then the Canna Lady and Doobie being like a cross between Rose and Dorothy. And I'm obviously Sophia. Well, it kind of, when I said there's only like 2 rooms, it almost sounded like Doobie and Canna Lady are like a couple. They're not. There's no butchy shit going on. They're all straight ladies as far as I know. But there's only, like I said, 2 bedrooms. And that kind of left something out. I can think you're wondering, wait a minute, only 2 bedrooms. And the Florida room, and you were in the Florida room. Wait a minute. My ma is like me. I'm sorry. My ma is like me. A couch person. I love sleeping on the couch. Last bunch of years, that's all I did. And on my fucking futon right in my living room. I didn't even fold the fucking thing out. And you know what? I slept a lot better than I do here in a big bed. I slept better in the Florida room on the couch without putting it out into the bed. Now I'm in an actual bed with one of those really nice mattresses, which is comfortable. But I roll around a lot, and I think I need that backing to keep me from rolling around, which keeps me from waking up too much and gives me more sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because I think about it and I'm like, wait. I used to laugh when my grandfather on my ma's side, and the lady that he was with for a bunch of years, because he was divorced from my grandmother for many years, right around when I was born. But their place, I would go, because I knew their house, the one that we just actually sold. And, because they're both gone now. And before moving to Gator Country, we, got that house ready and bye-bye. But when I was a kid and I knew that house, I'm like, wait, whose bed? That bedroom has one little tiny bed and that bedroom has what's going on here? I was asking this like when I was 12. Well, they don't sleep in the same rooms. And I thought that was weird because, of course, when you're a kid, you think it's normal for a couple to sleep in the same bed. Now, I thought, oh, fuck yeah. Genius. That's how I would be. My next coupling with a beautiful lady, which most likely will be a redhead, 'cause I'm crazy for the crazy no soul. Anyway, I think it's a genius idea because I can't really sleep very well because it's been very infrequent, but I really can't sleep very well in a bed with somebody now. So, if you're going to do the bebop, shawee-bop, thank you, Cindy Lauper, but then, I'm going to go down the hall in my bed now, just like when you were a kid. See, it all comes back full circle. I don't mean kid, I mean like, dorm. You know what I'm saying? Not saying like it's in your own same house, but sometimes, that happens too. If you're, and I'm not talking about incest, Jesus H. Christ, no. But I do have a funny story I might tell one day about my stepbrother being way across the room thinking he was asleep while I was getting really intimate with a lovely lady. And, as soon as, I guess I'm telling the story now, as soon as she started making noise, there would be some people that are listening to this that get that. And a bunch of new people that get it. And he started making the noise back across the room. And, well, it made me laugh and it made her freak out because somebody else was awake and listening. And, I don't know, somebody might have peed because they were laughing so hard. It wasn't me. Was it? Maybe. Anyway, the point is, my ma sleeps on the couch. She's a couch person, which I totally get. That's why there's only 2 nice bedrooms. And then with the canna lady gone, I go ahead and take her bedroom, which I should stay out in the Florida room. But it's not quite as cool. It is Gator Country, so it can get a little on the sticky side. Somebody asked me to link a stand-up comedy set to the Patreon page. And what I've decided I'm going to do is actually go right to the front. Because like I do, the Wednesday jokes are from my old early notebooks. Even though when it comes to stand-up comedy, I'm a Padawan and always will be. But like with this, I'll put up, instead of like putting up something that's recent or midway, I'm going to put up my first ever actual set at a comedy club after I think I had done 4, 5, 6 open mics. I can't remember. It's been a long time. And my first set at an actual comedy club on a real stage at the Improv in Los Angeles. It was at the Lab, but still. Anyway, I'll put that up if I can remember. Because a bunch have been asking. I'm like, well, just fucking search my name, bitches. But I understand how that can go. And oh my God, trying to tell people how to search for things. Oh my Christ, over the phone. I'm like, is it really 2020? Because you're making it feel like it's 2007. Also on the Patreon, I put up my pictures from the Velez Monteses, a couple hours south here in Gator Country. My very good friends and a lot of people's good friends. So you can see pics of the garden and the cool campsite among the rest of the backyard, a bit of the backyard, and you can see the human cave. Nice little movie theater. It's badass, what I'm saying. But one of the things I was starting to get to at the end of 66 was I was talking about I was telling you about my one side of the family that, how do I put it, that I don't know. See, I'm one of those kids. I'm a bastard. I'm Jon Snow, for real. Even though my sperm donor had nothing to do with royalty. If he did have anything to do with royalty, wow, did he keep it a secret? Motherfucker must be like a 37th degree Mason and he ain't telling us. Anyway, so the guy that I talk about being my dad, the bowler that did rails with Dexter Manley, wow, is that not subtle? That man, my dad, that I refer to, Harrison Ford in Force Awakens, totally, that's him right there. Not also other Harrison Ford movies, but that one really sums it up. Especially because he was the first, of course, to take me to Star Wars. We're going to go see this space picture everybody's talking about. I was 6 going, you're taking us to the fucking museum and seeing fake stars. We know that. I didn't want to go. The man that got me stumped. Anyway, that guy. So he's not my biological father, even though he's my dad. The Richard Pryor guy. My biological father, before I was born, already had a daughter. And her name, just to be cool with this, I'll change it to Cian. Just to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Kosher? No, I'm not Jewish. Just to be, you know the word I'm looking for, right? I can't say it at the moment, but well, if you're a whip, you know I'll probably spit it out at some point without it even, without meaning to. So then there was me, because he was a cheater, and he went back to his other family, and then he had 2 other children. Now, he didn't come out of the woodwork to say anything to me until 2010. Even though I could have said, hey, I want to go meet this guy. I could have knocked on his door anytime, but I didn't want to because it didn't seem like he wanted anything to do with it, so I didn't want anything to do with it. So he came out of the woodwork when I was almost 40. Cool part was my kid was there when I got the phone call. But what I really wanted to know, even though I knew about them, well, who I wanted to know was my half siblings. Cian. I already think I told you Herb's name, which is so cool. Which reminds me, I should light up a J. And the youngest half-sister, her name is, to change a couple of letters, we'll call her Shelley. She'll be okay with that because she won't listen. So I didn't get to start getting to know them until I was around 40 years old, which was, it was cool because they all seemed pretty cool, even though he didn't. Whatever. By the way, my lighter I'm using, your best buds in the business, Hartford, Michigan, Smith Indoor Gardens. Just some friends of mine. Anyway, got to know them. They're pretty cool. But I never met them in person. Now, a few months ago, when my ma and I were heading down to Gator Country from the Northeast, we made plans to stop and say hello to Cian. One of the reasons I wanted to meet Cian was, well, she's my half-sister. And I wanted to meet her face-to-face anyway. But she lost one of her kids a year ago. A niece that I never got to meet, which is part of the point of the story. In the plans to stop and say hi, the plans were basically, and the way Ma usually is, quick hits, keep moving. So we made the plan to stop and, have lunch, say hi, hang out for a bit, and then get back on the road was the plan that I thought was going to happen. But luckily, it so happened to where when my Ma was cool with it, yeah, let's just stay here for the night. Hang. So me and Cian got quite buzzed, went through a lot of pictures, went through a lot of stuff, packed a lot into a few hours of smoking weed and drinking booze. And her dog just fell in love with Ma, so dog laid down with Ma, she went to sleep. Me and Cian, we went to town shooting the shit, which was great. Try to get Herb. Well, we had Herb involved, but the weed kind, not the human kind. But he was busy, which is cool. Sometime I'll get back to him. But here's the cool part. And I already had some pictures, and I noticed it, but I didn't want to say anything. But Cian has 3 daughters. The middle one was the one that she lost. Now, the funny thing is, she named the lovely one that's gone, had the same name as the actual half-sister that I grew up with. Trippy. I knew that, thought it was trippy beforehand, but then as she got even older and to see older pictures of her, she looks like my daughter's twin with a little bit of baby fat. But most people, if they looked at my daughter's picture and looked at Cian's middle daughter picture, my niece, they'd go, "Are those sisters?" And you wouldn't blame them. But at the same time, looks like her middle daughter looks like my daughter, and her daughter has the same name as my other half-sister that I grew up with. That's some trippy fucking shit. You've heard me talk about it's a simulation, sort of. I know I've mentioned it. This is only the 3rd podcast I've recorded in the last 6 months or 5 months, so I forget some of the shit. But how's that for trippy? And totally true. And what a cool move by Ma to instead have it just be a meet and greet and a little lunch. Great to see you. Instead letting it be a night that CN and I actually preferred. Pretty badass. As much as I seem like a bitch, I'm also, trying to bring it around and say how appreciative I am of the things that I does haves. But that's some trippy shit, man. When I first, I'm like, do you understand? I went like 3 pictures and I go, CN, do you understand she looks just like my kid? She still says it. She passed it around to a whole bunch of people. Look at this, look at this. Anyway, did I tell you this part? Since I left California, I have put on 20 fucking pounds. The Waning Interest podcast is getting heavy. I hope I hope it means that there are more whips coming. Not about the Patreon so much. It's not about that. I know the downloads are popping. I don't know if it has something to do with everybody not being able, shit to do and just downloading shit and listening to whatever. But I think that might help. But I also think my tweets do. But the podcast is getting heavy, and I do hope the listeners get heavier because I hope they fucking enjoy it. I think it's fun. I wouldn't put them out if I didn't listen back and go, which I do at some points, but you can't help it when you're listening to yourself. Just watched, I wanted to go through my other Facebook posts. See, I told people to watch Wag the Dog. Jimmy Dore flame throwing. What was today? A bill that's over 1,000 pages, obviously had been prepared for a while. A bill that's worse than the one that caused Occupy Wall Street. Roll in military as folks are scared and before they realize how hard they're getting raped. Whatever. Jimmy Dore, I reposted a tweet of his where the Democrat Party is not an opposition party to Trump, and the Republicans, they have a very symbiotic relationship with them because they work for the same billionaires. The Dem Party is in firm opposition to workers, not the oligarchs, not the Republicans, not Trump, the workers. I shared that with, the worst part is you can't stop hearing the Macho Man breathe, "Oh yeah," into the end of all their sentences. 96-0 equals rent strike, mortgage strike, and general strike until UBI and healthcare for all. Oh, the Stanhope post. You told me it was a corona curing quarantine chair and charged me $4,500, you motherfucker. He was talking to Joby, who does the Stanhope death pool, and he had a picture of him with one of those old things getting your hair done with the bubble over your head, drying your hair. Oh, did you ever notice that in Captain America Winter Soldier, that when Robert Redford goes to the refrigerator before he kills his maid while the Winter Soldier is in his kitchen, when he goes to the fridge, you can see some Newman's Own in the fridge? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid reunited in the Winter Soldier. That's badass shit right there. Trump, give everything to banks and corporations. Obama, give everything to banks and corporations. Folks that don't bother voting are folks that know there's no real left or right and they don't like the WWE. And also, I say we should keep an eye on 5G. What do you think? That's what I think. And, Better Call Saul. Season 5, just finished episode 7. Oh my God, the last 2 episodes are like Breaking Bad without Walt and Jesse. It's so sweet. We get to see Peter Schuler from Madrigal. Oh man. We get to understand the whole Lalo thing's coming. It's so fucking badass. Either way, when you're not watching that, do Word Acted Tonight, Jimmy Dore, Corbett Report, Kim Iverson, Kyle Kolinsky, Abby Martin. Look for yourself. I'm just here to be a fun, babbling lecturer. Remember, we're all Neo, aka One. Sorry, ran long. Had to bump comedian Ari Shafir. Thanks, Gary. Woo! Daddy loves you.